Welcome to a realm where terror lurks in the shadows and nightmares become reality. Join us as we journey through 3 chilling tales. Brace yourself for a spine-chilling exploration into the darkest corners of fear and suspense.
In a quiet neighborhood, a new babysitting job awaited Emily. She stood at the doorstep of the Thompsons' grand, secluded mansion, marveling at its grandeur. The house, with its intricate Victorian design, seemed to whisper stories of a bygone era. As the door creaked open, Mrs. Thompson greeted her with a warm smile, ushering her into the spacious foyer where the echoes of past lives lingered. "This is quite the house," Emily said, her voice filled with awe. Mrs. Thompson chuckled softly. "Yes, it has a lot of history. The children are in the living room. They can be a bit shy, but they'll warm up to you." Emily nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and unease. The Thompsons' children, Sophie and Daniel, were indeed withdrawn. Their wide, curious eyes followed her every move, and Emily couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. As she settled in, she noticed strange symbols etched into the walls, cold spots that seemed to shift through the rooms, and unsettling laughter echoing in the empty corridors. Later that night, as Emily tucked Sophie and Daniel into bed, she decided to explore the mansion. She had always been fascinated by old houses and their histories. Armed with a flashlight, she made her way to the attic. The air grew colder as she ascended, and the floorboards creaked under her weight. In the corner of the attic, she found an old trunk covered in dust. Curiosity piqued, Emily opened the trunk and discovered an ancient diary. The yellowed pages crackled as she carefully turned them, revealing the scrawled handwriting of Eliza Harrington. The diary detailed a dark ritual performed years ago by the mansion's owners to summon malevolent spirits. Emily's heart raced as she read about the pact with demonic forces and how the spirits sought to possess the innocent. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the attic, and Emily heard a faint whispering. She turned around, her flashlight beam trembling, and saw a shadow dart across the wall. Her breath hitched, and she felt a chill run down her spine. She clutched the diary tightly and hurried back downstairs, determined to uncover the truth. As days passed, Emily noticed the children's behavior becoming increasingly strange. They would often engage in bizarre rituals and speak in tongues, their eyes glazed over with an otherworldly gleam. Terrified, Emily realized that the children had been ensnared by the ancient spirits that once inhabited the playground nearby, a site tainted by tragedy and forgotten by time. One evening, unable to sleep, Emily followed Sophie and Daniel to the abandoned playground. The moon cast eerie shadows on the rusted swings and broken slides. The children stood in the center, chanting in a language Emily couldn't understand. She watched in horror as dark figures emerged from the shadows, surrounding the children. "No!" Emily shouted, rushing forward. The figures turned towards her, their eyes glowing with malevolent intent. Emily felt a cold hand grip her wrist, pulling her back. She struggled, but the grip tightened. Desperate, she remembered the diary and the instructions Eliza had left for breaking the spirit's grip. With a burst of strength, Emily broke free and recited the incantation from the diary. The air around her crackled with energy, and the figures recoiled, hissing. A bright light enveloped the playground, and the spirits screamed in agony before dissipating into the night. Emily collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. Sophie and Daniel lay unconscious, but alive. She gathered them in her arms and carried them back to the mansion. As she entered the foyer, Mrs. Thompson rushed towards them, her face pale with worry. "What happened?" she asked, her voice trembling. Emily shook her head, too exhausted to explain. She laid the children on the couch and whispered a silent prayer of thanks. The nightmare was over, but the scars remained. In the following days, the children began to recover. They no longer spoke in tongues or engaged in strange rituals. Emily stayed with the Thompsons, helping them rebuild their lives and ensuring that the mansion was cleansed of its dark past. They discovered more secrets hidden within the mansion's walls, letters, artifacts, and photographs that painted a detailed picture of the Harrington family's tragic history. Years later, as Emily stood in the mansion's garden, now blooming with vibrant flowers and life, she reflected on the journey that had brought her here. The mansion, once a place of shadows, was now filled with laughter and light. The Thompsons had renovated the house, turning it into a community center that hosted various events and activities for the neighborhood. One sunny afternoon, while attending a gathering at the mansion, Emily met a young historian named Mark. He had heard about the mansion's storied past and was fascinated by its transformation. They struck up a conversation, and Emily found herself sharing the details of her experiences, including the discovery of Eliza Harrington's diary. "I've always been intrigued by stories of redemption and transformation," Mark said, his eyes shining with enthusiasm. "Your story, Emily, is one of the most compelling I've ever heard. Have you ever thought about delving deeper into the history of the Harrington family?" Emily smiled, her curiosity piqued. "I'd love to. There's so much more to uncover, and I believe Eliza's story deserves to be fully told." Over the next few months, Emily and Mark worked together, sifting through old archives, visiting historical sites, and interviewing descendants of the Harrington family. They discovered letters, photographs, and artifacts that painted a more detailed picture of the family's tragic history and their desperate attempts to right their wrongs. One evening, as they pored over documents in the mansion's library, Mark found a hidden compartment in an old desk. Inside was a bundle of letters wrapped in a silk ribbon. They carefully opened them and began to read. The letters revealed a secret love affair between Eliza Harrington and a local artist named Thomas. Their love had been a beacon of hope for Eliza amidst the darkness that surrounded her family. Thomas had tried to help Eliza break the curse, but their efforts had been in vain. The letters ended with a heartbreaking farewell as Thomas left to protect Eliza from the spirit's wrath. Emily felt a deep connection to Eliza, understanding her struggles and sacrifices. "She was so brave," Emily said softly, tears in her eyes. She fought against such overwhelming odds, all for the sake of love and protecting her family. Mark nodded, his expression thoughtful. "Their love story is beautiful and tragic. It's a testament to the power of love and the lengths we go to protect those we care about." Inspired by their findings, Emily decided to write a new book focusing on Eliza and Thomas's story. She wanted to honor their love and bravery and to share the lessons she had learned about resilience and redemption. As Emily wrote, she felt Eliza's presence guiding her. The words flowed easily, and the book took shape, weaving together the past and the present. It was a labor of love, and Emily poured her heart and soul into every page. When the book was finally published, it received critical acclaim and touched the hearts of readers around the world. Emily's story, intertwined with Eliza's, became a symbol of hope and the enduring power of love. The mansion, now a thriving community center, continued to be a place of warmth and joy. It hosted book readings, art exhibitions, and historical tours, all celebrating its rich and complex history. The community had embraced the mansion, and it stood as a testament to the power of transformation and healing. Emily and Mark's friendship blossomed into a deep and abiding love. They married in the mansion's garden, surrounded by friends and family. It was a day filled with laughter and joy, a stark contrast to the mansion's dark past. As they exchanged vows, Emily felt a sense of peace and fulfillment. She knew that the mansion's story had come full circle, from darkness to light, and that Eliza's spirit could finally rest. Years passed, and Emily and Mark continued to build their lives together. They had 2 children, Sophie and Daniel, named in honor of the children Emily had once babysat. The mansion became a beloved part of their family's history, and they often spent time there, sharing stories and creating new memories. The community center thrived, offering programs for children and adults alike. It became a place where people could come together to learn, grow, and find solace. The once haunted mansion had become a beacon of hope and unity, its dark past overshadowed by its bright future. Emily's books continued to inspire readers around the world. She wrote several more, each one delving into different aspects of the mansion's history and the lives of those who had lived there. Her work was celebrated for its depth, compassion, and insight into the human spirit. One day, while exploring the mansion's attic with her children, Emily discovered an old painting covered in dust. It depicted Eliza and Thomas, their faces filled with love and determination. Emily's heart swelled with emotion as she gazed at the portrait. "We owe so much to them," she said softly, her voice filled with reverence. "Their love and courage made all of this possible." Sophie and Daniel looked at the painting, their young faces filled with curiosity. "Tell us the story again, Mom," Sophie said, her eyes wide with wonder. Emily smiled and gathered her children close. She began to tell them the story of Eliza and Thomas, of the haunted mansion and the dark rituals, of the bravery and love that had transformed it all. As she spoke, she felt a deep sense of connection to the past and a profound gratitude for the present. The mansion's legacy lived on, a testament to the power of love, courage, and redemption. It was a place where the past and present intertwined, where old wounds healed and new beginnings flourished. As the sun set over Willow Creek, casting a warm glow over the mansion, Emily stood on the porch, her family by her side. She looked out at the community that had embraced her and the mansion that had become a symbol of hope. "We've come a long way," she said, her voice filled with pride and gratitude. "And there's still so much more to do." Mark put his arm around her, and they watched as their children played in the garden, their laughter echoing through the air. The haunted shadows of the past had been banished, replaced by a legacy of love and resilience. And as Emily looked to the future, she knew that the mansion's story would continue to inspire and uplift generations to come. Many years later, the mansion stood as a vibrant testament to its remarkable history. Emily and Mark had grown older, their hair streaked with silver, but their spirits remained youthful and full of life. Their children had grown and started families of their own, and the mansion had become a cherished gathering place for holidays and celebrations. The community center continued to thrive, offering new programs and expanding its reach. It had become a cornerstone of the neighborhood, a place where people of all ages and backgrounds could come together. The mansion's dark past was now a distant memory, overshadowed by the light and love that filled its halls. Emily's books had become classics, studied in schools and cherished by readers around the world. Her story, intertwined with Eliza's, had touched countless lives and inspired others to find their own strength and courage in the face of adversity. One summer evening, as the sun set over Willow Creek, casting a golden glow over the mansion, Emily and Mark sat on the porch, holding hands. They watched as their grandchildren played in the garden, their laughter a beautiful symphony of joy. "Can you believe how far we've come?" Mark said, his voice filled with wonder. Emily smiled, her eyes shining with tears of happiness. "It's been an incredible journey. I never could have imagined how much this place would come to mean to us." They sat in comfortable silence, reflecting on the years that had passed. The mansion, once a place of fear and darkness, had become a beacon of hope and resilience. Its story was a testament to the power of love, courage, and redemption, a legacy that would endure for generations. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Emily felt a sense of peace and fulfillment. She knew that the mansion's story was far from over, and that its light would continue to shine, guiding others through the darkness and inspiring them to find their own strength and courage. The haunted shadows of the past had been transformed into a beautiful legacy of love and hope. And as Emily and Mark sat together, surrounded by their family and the community they had helped to build, They knew that the mansion story would continue to inspire and uplift for many years to come. And so, the story of the mansion, of Eliza and Thomas, of Emily and the Thompsons lived on, a shining example of the power of love, resilience, and the enduring human spirit. In the mist-shrouded town of Whispering Pines, nestled deep in the Appalachian Mountains, Claire Morgan inherited Whispering Pages, a bookstore passed down through generations of her family. The quaint shop, with its shelves laden with dusty tomes and the faint scent of aged paper lingering in the air, held a special place in Claire's heart. It wasn't just a bookstore. It was a sanctuary where stories whispered secrets and mysteries beckoned from forgotten corners. As Claire sorted through the attic, boxes of old books and knickknacks surrounded her. She uncovered a locked chest tucked away in a cobweb-covered corner. With a creak, she opened it to reveal an ancient-looking manuscript bound in cracked leather, its pages yellowed with age. There was no title on the cover, only intricate runes etched along the edges. Intrigued, Claire carried the manuscript downstairs to the bookstore's cozy reading nook. As she flipped through its pages, she felt a chill creep up her spine. The words seemed to writhe on the parchment, shifting and twisting as if alive. Strange whispers filled the air, unintelligible yet unsettling. That night, as Claire lay in bed, the whispers from the manuscript echoed in her mind. She dreamed of shadows moving along the walls of Whispering Pages, reaching out with tendrils of darkness. A cold presence brushed against her skin, and she awoke with a start, heart racing. Determined to understand the manuscript's secrets, Claire delved deeper into its pages the next day. The town's history, she discovered, was intertwined with whispers of a dark pact made long ago, a bargain to protect the town's secrets, sealed with blood and ancient runes. The manuscript, rumored to have been written by a reclusive author named Elias Blackwood, was said to hold the key to unlocking these secrets. Yet, as Claire read on, she noticed subtle changes in the bookstore. Books rearranged themselves overnight, and eerie shadows seemed to linger in corners where the light barely reached. Customers whispered of strange dreams and inexplicable fears, their eyes haunted by unseen terrors. With each passing day, the manuscript's influence grew stronger. Readers who ventured into its twisted narrative found their deepest fears and regrets materializing around them. Claire witnessed firsthand the effects as customers succumbed to paranoia and madness. Some claimed to see ghostly figures lurking in the bookstore's aisles, while others heard chilling laughter echoing in the night. Claire's own nightmares intensified. She dreamed of being trapped in a labyrinth of mirrors, each reflection distorted and grotesque. Faces of strangers and loved ones twisted into grotesque masks of horror, their eyes filled with accusation. Desperate for answers, Claire sought out the town's oldest resident, Old Man Wilkins, a reclusive figure known for his knowledge of Whispering Pines' darkest secrets. In a weathered cabin on the outskirts of town, he revealed fragments of the town's cursed history, a history steeped in betrayal and the thirst for forbidden knowledge. Armed with newfound knowledge, Claire confronted the malevolent presence lurking within Whispering Pages. She traced Elias Blackwood's footsteps through forgotten archives and decaying manuscripts, piecing together the author's descent into madness. Elias, it seemed, had sought to harness the town's dark secrets for his own gain, unwittingly unleashing forces beyond his control. As Claire delved deeper into the manuscript's secrets, she uncovered her family's connection to Elias Blackwood and the ancient pact. Eleanor, her grandmother, had known of the manuscript's power, but had kept its existence hidden, hoping to shield Claire from its influence. But it was too late. The manuscript had woven itself into the fabric of Whispering Pines, its words echoing through time, binding the town's fate to its malevolent will. Claire realized that to save Whispering Pines, she must confront the darkness within the manuscript itself. In a climactic showdown, Claire confronted the malevolent presence that had taken root within Whispering Pages. Shadows coalesced into twisted forms, voices whispered ancient curses, and the air crackled with dark energy. Claire stood before Elias Blackwood's spectral form, his eyes filled with madness and regret. With courage born of desperation, Claire recited the ancient runes etched in the manuscript. Light flared, dispelling the darkness, and the manuscript disintegrated into ashes. The malevolent presence shrieked and wailed, its hold over Whispering Pines shattered. As dawn broke over the mountains, Claire emerged from the bookstore, weary yet triumphant. The town was quiet once more, its streets bathed in golden sunlight. Residents emerged from their homes, their eyes clear and minds free from the manuscript's influence. In the aftermath, Whispering Pages became a symbol of resilience and redemption. Claire restored the bookstore to its former glory, welcoming readers from near and far. The whispers of fear and regret faded into memory, replaced by tales of courage and the enduring human spirit. Whispering Pines, too, found renewal. Old Man Wilkins shared his knowledge with Claire, ensuring that the town's history would be preserved and its secrets safeguarded. The bookstore became a beacon of light in the community, a place where stories whispered of forgotten legends and the power of overcoming darkness. As Claire closed the bookstore one evening, she glanced at the empty shelves and smiled. The manuscript's destruction had freed Whispering Pages from its malevolent influence, but its lessons remained etched in her heart. She knew that the town's history was a tapestry of light and shadow, woven together in a delicate balance. And as she locked the door, Claire whispered a silent vow to Eleanor and all who had come before her, to protect Whispering Pages, to cherish its stories, and to ensure that the darkness of the past would never again cast its shadow over their beloved town. In the quaint town of Ravenwood, nestled amidst ancient forests and mist-shrouded hills, stood a bookstore known to locals as a haven of forgotten tales and arcane knowledge. Ravenwood Books, passed down through generations of the Blackwood family, held secrets that whispered through its creaking shelves and whispered from its dimly lit corners. Evelyn Blackwood, inheritor of the bookstore and its legacy, had always felt a connection to the mysteries hidden within its walls. Her grandmother, the last custodian of Ravenwood Books, had imparted tales of strange occurrences and whispered warnings about a particular tome, an ancient grimoire bound in human skin, inked with forbidden incantations that promised power and peril in equal measure. Upon her grandmother's passing, Evelyn found herself drawn deeper into Ravenwood's secrets. As she sifted through the cluttered study of Ravenwood Manor, the family estate, her fingers brushed against the worn spine of the grimoire. Its cover, cool to the touch, seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, hinting at the dark forces it contained. Despite warnings echoing in her mind, Evelyn carried the grimoire back to Ravenwood Books. Alone in the quiet sanctuary of the bookstore, she lit a solitary candle and cautiously opened its pages. Ancient runes danced before her eyes, whispering secrets of forgotten rituals and eldritch powers. With each word Evelyn read, a ripple of darkness spread through Ravenwood. Unseen forces stirred beneath the town's placid surface, casting shadows that danced at the edges of perception. Whispers echoed through the night, chilling the air with their icy breath. In the days that followed, Ravenwood descended into disquiet. Residents spoke of strange occurrences, flickering lights, unexplained drafts, and fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures that vanished upon second glance. Fear took root, spreading like wildfire through the tight-knit community. Driven by a sense of responsibility and a growing unease, Evelyn delved into her grandmother's journals. Within the pages of faded ink and meticulous handwriting, she uncovered fragments of a dark history. Generations ago, a Blackwood ancestor had forged a pact with malevolent spirits, binding them within the grimoire as punishment for their transgressions against the natural order. The Shadow Collectors, as her grandmother called them, hungered for souls to sustain their spectral existence. Each reader of the grimoire became a vessel, haunted by visions of their deepest fears and regrets, drawn inexorably toward their own demise. Armed with newfound knowledge, Evelyn sought allies among Ravenwood's dwindling cadre of skeptics. Together, they devised a plan to confront the shadow collectors and break their hold on the town. Under the cover of night, Evelyn returned to Ravenwood Manor, the grimoire clutched tightly in her trembling hands. With a circle of salt and iron, they performed a ritual to draw out the malevolent spirits, their voices rising in defiance against the encroaching darkness. But the shadow collectors were cunning, their whispers weaving through the incantations like tendrils of smoke. As the ritual reached its crescendo, Evelyn felt their icy grip tighten around her, threatening to pull her into the abyss of their twisted realm. In a final act of courage, Evelyn made a desperate choice: to bind herself to the grimoire, offering her own soul as a barrier to protect Ravenwood. The shadow collectors recoiled, their ethereal forms writhing in agony as they struggled against Evelyn's newfound strength. With a triumphant cry, Evelyn unleashed a torrent of arcane energy, banishing the shadow collectors back into the darkness from whence they came. The grimoire trembled in her grasp, its pages fluttering as if in protest before falling silent at last. As dawn broke over Ravenwood, the curse that had plagued the town began to fade. Residents awoke from their nightmares, the lingering echoes of fear dissipating like morning mist. At Ravenwood Books, Evelyn stood amidst shelves once again, filled with mundane tomes and well-worn classics. The grimoire lay closed and dormant, its malevolent influence sealed away by Evelyn's sacrifice. Yet, as she watched the sunrise bathe Ravenwood in golden light, Evelyn knew that the darkness had not been vanquished entirely. The grimoire remained a silent sentinel, a reminder of the fragile boundary between forbidden knowledge and unspeakable horror. Years passed, and Ravenwood returned to its quiet existence. Evelyn, now older and wiser, continued to oversee the bookstore, forever mindful of the ancient grimoire's potential to awaken once more. Occasionally, travelers would visit Ravenwood, drawn by whispers of its eerie past and the bookstore owner who had faced down the shadows themselves. They would browse the shelves, unaware of the secrets that lay hidden within the pages of a seemingly innocuous tome, waiting for the curious and the brave to uncover their darkest truths.
As our journey through darkness comes to a close, remember the haunted mirrors, eerie rituals, and cursed tomes that have gripped our imagination. These tales of horror remind us that the unknown lurks just beyond our perception, waiting to be uncovered. Stay tuned for more spine-tingling stories that delve into the depths of fear and the macabre.